Hi, hello. This is a video essay for the final project of this course. And the video essay follows from my first and last draft of Unit 2, which is about what is the best mode of examination. And this is like a summary of all the work I've done, and you could say also my own take on the subject. So, why open books are the best form of examination? First of all, we have the agenda, which is how this presentation is going to be divided. We will start with the introduction to the subject, and then we will basically attack closed book exams, and then why having limited resources in exams is important, why having unlimited resources on exams can hinder the learning process, basically cheating. And for the fifth part, different courses and different modes of examinations, which goes into like why each course and like each area of study would have something that's different than another area of study for like how to examine it. And then we have the summary. So this is the introduction. Examinations are an integral part of the education system, but what form of examination maximizes all the benefits of examinations while minimizing all the shortcomings of examinations? After researching the subject, I have reached the conclusion that having open resource exams, but with limited resources, is the best form of examination for lots of reasons that we will dive into. So basically, I have reached this conclusion based on the fact that closed book exams don't make a lot of sense right now because, like, in the work, uh, like after graduation, when working, you could look things up all the time. And but open resource exams are basically an invitation to cheating, which is not good. And after I've done also my research, I found out that open resource exams, but with limited resources, are the best form of examination. Now, of course, there are some outliers, like for certain subjects, open resource exams wouldn't work. We would need a closed book exam or a fully open resource exam. But I think open resources with limited resources specified by the professor would work like the, would be the best in most circumstances. So here we go to the problem with closed book exams. The problem with closed book exams that there are many problems with closed book exams. These problems are mainly due to closed book exams being outdated. The first issue that comes to mind is the unnecessary stress that is caused by closed book exams, sorry. Think about it. Like studying for closed book exams, you would need to memorize. If you're studying for like let's say a math exam, you would need to study formulas, a lot of formulas that really, like when you're in the real life in the real world, you could just look set formulas up, and that applies to many different things like other than mathematics. I'm mainly familiar with mathematics because my major used to be computer science and now it's accounting, which also needs formulas that could be looked up within minutes through Google. So just the stress is unnecessary because memorizing like these formulas seems unnecessary. Moreover, having to recall information can also be inefficient, especially given that in today's world, other information you need is under your fingertips. Think about it like this: in the medical field, every day new studies are being produced and new information is being known. Um, like memorizing is useless when a doctor would need to look up things. Like a doctor recalling stuff just from 10 years ago where he was studying in college can be inefficient because new information, new better information could have been produced in this 10-year gap. So Making students be used to looking stuff up and not memorizing and actually learning stuff can also be better like in the work while working. This is a quote from Andrew Theodore Zook. He's a doctor and professor in the medical field. I have the source listed at the end of the essay, also at the end of the author's note, and it's the same source that I used in my first draft and the final draft. We also have to consider whether, in this age, when practitioners have up to date knowledge at their fingertips on a device in every pocket, it might even be seen as unprofessional to rely on fallible human memory or the recall of critical facts in the course of patient care, which basically says what supports what I said 1 minute ago. Now we will delve into why having limited resources on exams is important. Having resources while being examined can decrease the stress levels of students and encourage deeper learning. So these are also proven through the research I've done. Many studies proved that open book exams encourage deeper learning, and like students who are preparing for open book exams would have lower levels of stress going into the exam than students who are tested on closed book exams. Now, as I said, the only downside I think of open resource exams is that it makes cheating easier. Like if you allow full access to the internet, that could be a big invitation to cheating. But if certain resources could be allowed, for example, from my personal experience, I have a professor that allows us one A4 paper. We write our notes on it. We get into the exam. Like she thinks that this is the best way to teach her course, and I agree with her. So yeah, but I don't think having full access to the internet is good. Unless, for example, for like an English class where like plagiarism could be code nowadays, so people will have a harder time cheating. Why having limited resources in exams is important. Open resource exams will also help students in retaining the information that they are trying to learn due to the questions being harder. So usually, when an exam is open book, the questions would be more open questions that lead to critical thinking instead of the more multiple choice and true and false questions that come with closed book exams that only like make you recall stuff that you memorized. Open resource exams usually would have a question that are open-ended questions that force you to think really hard about uh, the question and answer deeply. Open resource exams cause less stress for students. Proven that open resource exams are less stressful for students. I think everyone can agree with that. Even though the questions are harder, but like have knowing that you don't need to memorize everything is uh, makes you feel better at least. Open resource exams encourage research habits. So basically, when you're doing an open book exam, let's say, and you're looking through let's say, a certain website that the professor has allowed you access to, you're actually getting used to also research stuff that you could utilize while going into the workforce. After you go into the workforce and after you get your PhD, you will be more acquainted with doing research that could help like education in general and research and making new discoveries. Finally, open resource exams are proven to encourage deeper learning, which is proven by one of the sources that I list below, listed also on the first and second draft. So, as I said, harder questions force you to think more about the subject instead of just trying to memorize the information, forcing you to think more about it, which could actually then lead to you memorizing it just without trying. So that's why it encourages deeper learning. Why having unlimited resources on exams can hinder the learning process. Having unlimited resources is like an invitation for cheaters to cheat. So basically, the problem that I spoke about, having unlimited resources on exams can really hinder the learning process because people will be able to cheat, and some people would always rather to cheat than study. And it's been found by evidence that I will show you in later slides. So, why having unlimited resources can hinder the learning process? Having unlimited resources can encourage cheating. Having unlimited resources can discourage students from doing any preparation for the exam. So, when some students, when that's also me sometimes, when I have like unlimited resources, I would think I'll just like study actually in the exam, which doesn't work at all. But some students will keep on doing the same mistake, and this will discourage students from doing any preparation for the exam. And also, the third point is having unlimited resources can make students think that they can get away with not learning the material. Thing I mentioned above. And this is the evidence for increased cheating when fully open resource exams are available to students. So 8,276 questions were posted on check by students in March 2018. These questions were answered 89.96% of the time. And this is after the pandemic, so after like a lot of exams had to shift, a lot of professors had to shift their exams to online, fully open resources. And this is the evidence like a lot of people were cheating at that time, and I think a lot of people will keep on cheating if we shift to a fully open resource uh, based examination mode. But let's keep in mind that different courses and different modes of examinations, nothing fits everything. There is no exam format that fits all majors and areas of studies. Uh, let's go this way. So different courses and different modes of examinations. I don't think that there is one way of examination that would work perfectly for all courses and areas of study. For example, 100% closed book exam on a research paper would not work at all. At the same time, a fully open resource exam, let's say on like a history exam where people could just Google the facts up, would also not work at all. So each area of study will have a way of examination that works best for the said area of study. And it is the job of professors to decide what way of examination offers students the most benefits. So, uh, I'm sure professors would know much more about their subjects that they are teaching than me, and I'm sure that they were students, of course, so they would know what's the best way to test their students and test their abilities while also giving them the ability to retain the information to achieve deeper learning, achieve a deep learning state of the subject that they are teaching, and in general, giving students less stress. To summarize, uh, conclusion, I think that having limited resources can be the best way to encourage deeper learning and increase the retention of information while decreasing stress levels of students and making cheating less accessible to students. Of course, for certain areas of study, closed book exams or fully open resource exams can be better for all the factors I mentioned about it. They can be, for example, a closed book exam would, of course, be better for a history subject, I think at least. Um, it will, not sure about stress levels, but it would increase the tension of information and it would for sure make cheating not accessible. But for example, a research paper would be impossible to be done with a closed book exam. But I stood with open book exams with limited resources because I think it's the middle and it would work for most subjects. It could even work for history exams. Personally, I think so. These are my sources. I have listed them. This is the fourth time that I've listed them. I thought I should list them in the PowerPoint. I also list them in the author's note. Um, and I wanted to thank you for viewing the video and for a great semester. Thank you very much. I enjoyed studying with you this semester, and you taught me a lot. Thank you. Have a good, best of luck.